What's up, everyone? You're listening to the Vegas Bun Boy Show, episode number 6, 574 Days to Vegas. Alright, welcome back to episode number 6. Thanks for listening. It's not going to be as sexy as last time, as I don't have a cold anymore, but it is going to be more fabulous as we welcome my friend Josh from 2 Fab Dudes, who's going to come on to answer 10 questions. We talk about Halloween in Vegas, as well as cover a little bit about the LGBTQ scene in Vegas. Also this week, the Vegas Bun Boy Top 5 takes in buffets, and gambling around the world hits London for the first time. And I've mentioned it a little bit in the show in the past, but today we're going to talk about it in a little bit more depth. Hello and welcome to episode 6. You'll hopefully be happy about the fact that the gap between episode 5 and 6 was not 2 months. Hooray! Anyway, I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well too. Let's get on with a little housekeeping before talking to this week's guest, Josh from 2 Fab Dudes. I've got a few PayPal donations to be very thankful for again, this time from Sarah and Richard in Des Moines, Iowa. They said, "Hi Bun Boy, we love the show and are glad you came back with a new episode. Also hoping to join you when you eventually return in 2019. Thanks guys, really looking forward to hopefully meeting up with some listeners or other internet friends that I've made doing this when I finally make it back. And secondly, from my actual real-life friend Lee, who you may remember from previous stories on this podcast, he said that I now own a bourbon, which I guess is fine. And in massive Vegas Bun Boy Show news, you may have seen on Twitter that I'm going to be organising a London meetup so that we can all drink and gamble in our fair capital. The inaugural Bunfest will take place in July. I'll get an exact date out there at some point soon once I've sorted out bits and pieces. It'll be a Saturday evening event, starting at a drinking establishment and then moving on to some gambling establishments where we can play some craps together, learn the game if you don't know how to play it, and explore a little bit of what London's casinos have to offer. If it's a success, we'll do a Bunfest 2 in the summer 2019, and then Bunfest 3 will hopefully take place in Las Vegas, September 2019. So, moving on to today's guest, my man, Josh from 2 Fab Dude. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 questions! Josh,
thanks.
Welcome to the Bun Cave. How you doing?
Hey, good. I'm glad to be here.
Good. People may know you from your YouTube vlog that you do with your husband, 2 Fab Dudes. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So it really started off that when we went to Vegas, we wanted to video things and turn it into a vlog to share with people. And then we both thought, well, there's other things that happen besides Vegas, because that only happens maybe once or twice a year, hopefully. So it's like we have so many cool things that we do that we want to share. So we figured, let's make a YouTube channel.
You mentioned that you've been to Vegas 8 or 9 times over the last 2 years, which is something that I could only dream of. So why don't we start with just a little bit about your Vegas history, I suppose.
Only time I didn't go with my husband was with one of my girlfriends. So that was actually my first trip ever. So it was both of our first trip to Vegas. So that was really different. We tried to do everything in the few days that we had there and thought we could walk everywhere, and very quickly realized that's not going to happen.
No, that is a running theme with most people I've ever met.
Yes. So it's never been completely solo. If it was, I would actually fear for my life and my safety. I don't think I should be let loose without any kind of supervision, especially in Vegas.
Okay, so when you're in town, what is your wager of choice?
Oh, the wager of choice? You mean like what kind of games?
Yes.
Well, usually slot machines. That's where it all started. I was never a gambler. It started off just playing some penny slots to get some free beer. I'd sit there, play the actual pennies, not like 50 cents. I'd try to find like 5 cents per hit.
So the marketing plan actually sucked you in. You're one of the many. Yeah, me too.
It's terrible. It totally worked. Every promotion that is sent to me, they can see me coming for sure. I've definitely wised up to some of them, and most of them it's like, I'm not really going to go over there for my $5 free plate today, but thank you.
Nice. So you may know that I am yet to be convinced by slot machines. So if that's the sort of thing that you play, can you tell me a little bit about, from your enjoyment, what might convince me to throw more of my money into machines?
Sure. I've never had any major wins.
That's not a good start. That's a terrible start. Oh no!
Yeah, well, I'm not making any money off of you, so what do I have to lose?
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
They're really more for fun. Like if you're playing a fun game, then you're gonna enjoy yourself more than if you're just playing a 3 reel and just keep hitting the button and nothing exciting ever happens,
sure.
especially winning.
I can see that. My wife is obsessed with the Sex and the City machines. So I understand that there's a little bit of, okay, I can understand the theme here. And if you're into the theme, then maybe you get a bit more excited by the bonus round. But yeah, I think that's enough for me. But good for you.
It's a time waster and a money waster. Every now and then, we've had some pretty good hits. I think on that top dollar machine at the Golden Gate a couple trips ago, I think I hit like $600 on a $2 bet. So
nice.
So there's hope, and that's how they get me to keep trying.
Yes. Absolutely. Same for everybody. Okay, away from gambling, when we first exchanged messages a few months ago, I was watching one of your Vegas videos on YouTube, and you guys were dressed as the witches from the Disney movie Hocus Pocus. And ridiculously, your costumes are insanely uncanny. It's not too far off, is it? Halloween looks like a pretty great time in town. I've heard from many different people that it's worth a visit because, as a Brit, Halloween isn't something we really celebrate over here. Your country's global overtake is definitely pushing it down our throats more and more each year, but it's kind of passed me by. So what's it like in Vegas at Halloween? What sort of tricks did you get up to? And I'm not calling you guys hookers.
Well, you have to make money somehow. It was really a great time in Vegas. It was so exciting to see all these people in their costumes. We went to that Halloween costume contest at the Link.
Oh yeah.
It was filled, like the entire street was filled with people in costume, and like they had decorations and scary performers and like drum entertainment, all sorts of stuff. And just seeing all those costumed people, it was like the ultimate Halloween, and it wasn't even on Halloween itself. So there was that costume contest day, plus we went downtown to Fremont Street for actual Halloween just to go to dinner, not actually dress up or anything that day. But Fremont Street is definitely the place to check out on Halloween. Like, it was wall-to-wall people in costume. It was absolutely insane. But everyone was having such a good time.
And the back to the Hocus Pocus Sanderson sisters. You entered yourselves in the competition, right?
Yeah, we planned a couple months in advance. We're like, hey, there's this costume contest. We might as well enter it. I've been known to dress up as Winifred Sanderson in my entertainment past, so I'm like, we could do this. We could all be the three sisters. So my husband and my friend Jen were like, okay, let's do it. So I went to work and made the costumes, and we entered the contest thinking, oh yeah, it'll be fun. We'll be in Vegas. We're gonna drink and have a few laughs. But then we ended up taking third place out of all the people that entered. So that was really insane.
Excellent. Well, as I said, I've seen the video, and if anyone else wants to check out the video, it's up there on the Two Fab Dudes YouTube channel, which we'll get to later. Pretty entertaining stuff. They're not your real teeth, right? You pop them in.
Yeah, those are not my real teeth.
It would be useful. Oh, I don't know if you decided to perform as Winifred because you had the right teeth or not, or maybe
Right. That would be insane.
Yeah. Okay, so as you just mentioned, you've performed a drag act as Winifred Sanderson in the past.
Yep.
Where's the best place to find great drag entertainment in Vegas the rest of the year, aside from Halloween parties? I've seen posters for Frank Marino all over town, so he's quite popular, right?
Yes, yeah, that's definitely the quintessential drag impersonator show. I think they have a show every day of the week, maybe 6 days a week. So if you're looking for an impersonator of a star or a singer, that's the place to go. I know that Piranha nightclub is very popular for drag shows.
Okay, where's that?
That couldn't tell you exactly where it is. I believe it's in the area called the Fruit Loop, which is like the gay bar district, if that's still a thing.
Okay.
I know a couple of them closed and moved around and stuff. I've been to, what's that bar called? Charlie's. It's like a country gay bar. But I've
Okay.
been there and seen a drag show one time. So there's a lot of shows to see. I know they also do a drag brunch at Treasure Island, I think at Senior
Oh
Frogs.
yeah, yeah.
I couldn't see myself paying to go to a drag brunch, but if that's something you're interested in, awesome.
So I don't know if you heard the last episode. I had Dell from the UK on. He was talking about
Yes.
how he got married out in Vegas, and now you're on the show, and you've been married out in Vegas. So,
Yep.
yeah, this is a running theme. Now. I'm gonna start a wedding section. I think. How was your wedding? Apart from obviously fabulous, was there much vomit involved?
There could have been some vomit involved. It was a little nerve-wracking. Um, it was pretty chill though. Like the only nervous moments were the time before I was in the room myself, getting ready to go down and meet everyone. Um, Other than that, it was really easy. We used the Las Vegas wedding wagon service.
Oh yeah.
They came and met us outside of Caesars at the gazebo
Is that
on
like
the corner.
a sort of mobile marriage service?
It is, yeah. They go
Excellent.
wherever you choose to have your ceremony. I know they don't do a lot of like indoor private areas like inside a casino, but like outside you can do whatever you want. So we try to think somewhere that would be, essential, like Vegas, like you think about that place and you see it all the time. So we figured the corner of the Las Vegas Strip and Flamingo, the gazebo outside Caesar's Palace,
Amazing.
was a perfect place.
Yeah, that's not going away anytime soon. Or maybe
Well,
Ramsey will put a restaurant on top of it.
right, possible. Or they'll put a Samsung store in there.
Yes.
Idiots.
I like that idea a lot, actually. I mean, when I got married, it was in a rustic old hotel, and we never go anywhere near it, and we never see it on films or on TV. So that's a pretty
Right.
sweet idea. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Let's talk a little bit about 360 Vegas Vacation. Have you been on one of those trips before? Because I noticed that you're very much involved in their community over there, and you'll be attending Vegas Vacation 6 in the summer.
No, this year's going to be the first one.
Excellent. Okay, because I've kind of got used to the metric fuck ton of fear of missing out recently. That a bunch of my new internet friends in Oceans 14 and the Summit
Right.
and Zorkfest in Atlantic City,
Yeah.
and then with Zorkfest and 360 Vegas Vacation 6 overlapping this summer, there seems to be a pretty big concentration of people that I know going to be in town. Are you planning on attending both or just Vegas Vacation?
It is just going to be Vegas Vacation this time. I really wish we could go to Zorkfest
Mm.
because I love a deal. I love trying to maximize my points and stuff in Vegas. But I have a work conference that I'll be in Orlando the week before. So literally coming home Saturday, then going to Vegas on Sunday. So I
Nice.
will have to miss it, but for pretty good reason. So
Yeah. I think you'll be all right from a social perspective. I imagine a lot of the people who are going there for Zorkfest will stumble into Vegas Vacation 6 anyway.
oh, for
So,
sure.
so
Oh yeah.
do you have any idea what the 360 guys have got planned for the trip so far?
I know some meetups and some dinner plans are in place. You never know, I'm sure with any kind of group meetup and trip if those things are going to even, happen on time or just once it starts, from what I know, time just like goes out the window. Um, I'm just looking forward to meeting all the cool people that I've been tweeting with and chatting with. When I first started to tweet and talk to all these 360 Vegas people and others in the podcast community, I wasn't looking for friends. I was like, hey, there's these cool people. They're posting on this Vegas stuff, and I'm going to comment. But there's a lot of people that are really, really cool people, and I
Yeah.
know we're going to hang out and have an awesome time.
Yeah.
So it's like going on vacation with friends that you don't know that you had before.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
really weird.
I think we were talking the other day about. I mean, personally, I'm early 30s. I live in the UK. I shouldn't have anything in common with this bunch of amazing people that I've frequented with over the last sort of 6 months or so. But yeah, if I do ever actually manage to get back to Vegas, I'd be definitely hoping that a bunch of them would come out and meet, and we could have a little bit of fun. That would be good.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, and you're a delinquent. You belong in the same group too, because I'm also in my early mid 30s. So
Early mid. Yeah, me too. Really, I suppose I can't say early anymore. I'm 34 next month. In the unlikely event that anyone listening to this doesn't know about Mark, Karen, and Tony's 360 Vegas podcast, you can check that out. It's super unlikely no one's heard of this, but that's an excellent podcast with super fun hosts and an amazing amount of information. I reckon that just about covers it. If people listening want to look you up online, where can they find you?
Cool. If you want to find me, I am on Twitter at Josh Fab Dude. And then the YouTube channel, if you look up 2 Fab Dudes, we don't have a channel URL yet because we're not that big, and we might not be, but just look it up and you'll be able to find us.
Excellent. I was trying to Google it earlier, and I noticed that if you put the number 2 and Fab Dudes without any spaces, it comes up straight away. So check that one out.
Perfect.
Excellent. Nice one. Well, Josh, thanks very much for talking to me. It's been a lot of fun. And hopefully we'll meet or talk more in the future and have a drink together. Nice one.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and I will see you in Vegas next time you're there.
Great, I look forward to it.
Awesome, thanks.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 questions. Thanks a lot for coming on the show, Josh. That was a lot of fun. Let's move on to the top 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This week's top 5 is the top 5 you've probably all been waiting for, because I know everyone loves a buffet. And the most important thing about buffets is knowing which is the best, so that you can go buffet at the best buffet. So, I don't really think buffets are a great idea in general, but I have been to a bunch, as it's a thing that happens in Vegas, and some have been decent. I've only visited buffets because of points won on My Vegas, though. So, this list is restricted to MGM properties. If you're looking for the best buffet in Vegas, then maybe my title's a lie. Maybe it should be best MGM buffets that I've won through playing slots on My Vegas. Anyway, too late now. This is likely to be the least useful top 5 so far, unless you're some kind of buffet-loving freak of nature. I'm going to throw out a little disclaimer here as well, because I've allowed myself to be a little scathing in parts. These judgments are my own opinion, based on single visits to each establishment, are in no way guaranteed to be accurate today. By all means, let me know about your own experiences at the following buffets if you've visited recently. In at number 5, we have the buffet at Luxor. They've named it more, which I think is supposed to be ironic, because after your first visit, you will likely not come back for more. I think this place suffers from my eyes are bigger than stomach view that buffets are amazing. You can eat as much as you like, after all. I am, however, terrible at remembering that the lower end properties really aren't going to be putting much effort into their communal trays of slop. To their credit, they do make an effort to make sure that the contents of each slop tray... I'll rate this buffet grease out of 10, and MGM don't seem to think much of it either. It costs a similar amount of my Vegas points as the Excalibur buffet, which, although being adamant Vegas fanboys' favourite buffet, is not held in high regard whatsoever by anyone else. Shooting to number 4 this week is the buffet at Monte Carlo. See if you can guess what highly original name they came up with for their buffet. It's called The Buffet. Food quality is better here than the Luxor, with decidedly less grease on offer. Fried chicken and prime rib were succulent and tasty, but the mashed potato and pizza were dry and disgusting. Fresh salads and fruit are plentiful and good quality. It's absolutely possible to get yourself a decent meal here. Desserts are okay. Generally in the mid-range buffets, much like all-inclusive resorts in Mexico or the Mediterranean, the desserts are various sponges covered in different coloured whipped topping. Blech. Number 3. Let's move on to that now. Cravings Buffet at Mirage. This was the first buffet I visited in Las Vegas. I was not disappointed. You can tell we are quite obviously moving up the chain of MGM buffet command here. As the properties get better, so do the buffets. For a start, this place has the much sought after crab's legs. Personally, I don't get it, but plenty of people did. Plates were piled high across the room as patrons dived in for their crab meat. Great salad, pasta and freshly grilled meat stations aligned to give you a little bit more freshness than you may usually expect. They also have your standard round-the-world stations offering the kind of Chinese, Indian and Mexican snacks that you can find in the freezer aisle at your supermarket. Of course, the Italian station was pizza and pasta, and it seemed to me that it was definitely worth avoiding the vat of lukewarm, stodgy pasta on offer in favour of visiting the pasta station where your dish would be cooked freshly to order for you in front of your very eyes. Cravings Buffet at Mirage gets a solid fresh out of 10 from me. Where to go from the Mirage then on our trip up the MGM hierarchy? Well, to the Bellagio, of course. And again, originality running wild in Jim Murin's camp. Bellagio's buffet is also called The Buffet. This place is great as buffets go. The food on offer is marked improvement from Cravings at the Mirage. Loads of fresh shellfish, which appeal to me greatly. They also offer caviar, which I guess is an attempt to further justify their fairly high price point. I just got the impression that the chefs were of a higher standard here. I'd recommend going to anyone in need of a hearty meal but doesn't want to eat the stodge available at the lower end buffets I've discussed so far. By now, I'm sure you're wondering where I go from the Bellagio if I'm reviewing MGM buffets. So, in at number 1 on the buffets list, drum roll please. Number 1 is no buffet. I have a confession to make, and that confession is that I've done a top 5 segment on buffets, having only visited 4 buffets. This is quite apt though, as I'm not the biggest fan of buffets, and no buffet is probably favourable. It also leaves the number 1 spot open, so that should I ever get to visit either the Wicked Spoon at the Cosmopolitan, or the Bacchanal at Caesar's Palace, I can shoot them straight into the top spot without moving anyone down. I have heard fantastic things about both, so my hopes are high. If it stresses you out or you're feeling let down that we only had 4 entries into the top 5 this week, then please do feel free to write me. The email address is vegasbunboy@gmail.com. You can also check me out on my website where these top 5s have all been listed. The other top 5s are actual top 5. Let's feed some bears.
Born in London in 84, a podcast named Vegas Bun Boy. He loves to talk, but he loves one thing more: gambling round the world.
This week, we visit London, England. There are far more casinos in London that I need to check out than I've managed to do so up to this point. In fact, I've only visited 1 casino in London so far, despite Michael Traeger from Travelzork and Eric Rosenthal from Vegas Confessions telling me I should check out at least the Empire in Leicester Square. I've still only ever been to the Hippodrome. And there is one reason for that. Hippodrome has the only craps tables in London. The Hippodrome has the only craps tables I can feasibly access at anywhere without spending way too much time travelling. We'll get back to the craps tables later though. Let's talk about the place in general. Like the Empire, the Hippodrome is located in the hustle and bustle of tourist hotspot Leicester Square, which is a small part of London's famous West End. The entrances are all street level, and once done with checking your coats, you're greeted with an often packed main floor full of table games. Roulette, blackjack, Texas Hold'em, 3-card poker, and I'm sure a few more carnival games are on offer. As you look up to the ridiculously high ceiling, you notice that floors 1 and 2 are galleries that overlook the main gaming floor. These galleries house poker tables, bars, lounges, and from what I can gather by reading the reviews, a superb steak restaurant. There's also a very popular theatre that shows burlesque and musicals, amongst other things. This is all fine, of course, but it's not why we're here. We're here for dice, and only dice. To find the craps tables, you need to venture downstairs into the basement. The basement is branded separately to the rest of the casino, and it's called Lola's. They market this as being established in the year 1900. This isn't strictly true, of course. Yes, the space was used in 1900 as the understage space of the then Hippodrome Theatre, a space for performers to get ready for the stage, makeup, costumes, etc. Lola's has been decorated to recreate the room as it was 100 years ago, and in my humble opinion, it creates a fantastic atmosphere. It's dimly lit, cosy, has big leather chairs to relax in if you aren't throwing your money away at the tables. In the centre of the room is a podium with a birdcage where Lola's girls dance on rotation. I guess it's essentially a really well done party pit, just without the Pussycat Dolls references. The podium is surrounded by blackjack and roulette tables, and off to the side by the cage is the Holy Grail. 2 wonderful full-size craps tables. They used to have an all-tall, all-small, make-em-all side bet, but alas, that's now disappeared. Minimum bets are £5, but maximum odds are 2 times. Beggars cannot be choosers, and I am one such beggar who is just happy to be able to play craps in a great setting without having to fly 10 hours to Vegas. I've managed to make it here about 5 times so far, and in my experience, the crews are just fantastic. We don't have a big tipping culture over here, so myself and my friends are often the only ones throwing out hard ways for the dealers. I also really enjoy this one regular. An elderly gentleman who consistently plays the 6 and 8 for £6 each. Every time I 7 out early, he gives me a real hard time. And it's not friendly, it's not jokey, it's not banter. This guy is fucking pissed at me when I throw a 7. Shouting and swearing and pointing at me as if I just fucked his wife. I don't see this reaction to anyone else. Maybe I did fuck his wife in a past life. As far as the gambling goes, I'm up by about $3,500 over the course of my visits. The very first time we went there was May last year. We hadn't played craps since Vegas in March 2016 and we were itching to throw some dice. All our craps related dreams came true when we entered Lotus for the first time and saw what was on offer. I'd also managed to earn £75 in free play through my Vegas. The chips that I was handed for this promotion are what they call... The chips that I was given as part of this promotion were either 100 times or 1,000 times chips. So essentially, if it were 100 times, the chip that you put on the table would be 5 pence. The 100 times odds would make that deal worth a £5. And that means that you can only take them to the table. You can't just get the chips and immediately cash them back for your £75. This is all fine because I didn't take them to get the money back. I took them to play some dice. The beauty of these chips is that they stay up until they lose, which in my experience is quite a rarity for free play, and it is an absolute advantage to the player. Typically, the free play disappeared quickly, so I had to get my actual cash out. We bought in for £200 and played for a couple of hours, strictly sticking to the pass line and 2 come bets. And come 9 PM, we were hungry, so we decided to cash out a little bit up and grab a quick bite. On a side note, we ate at Five Guys. This is the first and only visit to the burger chain that I've had, and I liked it very much, although it was ridiculously expensive. Upon our return, we bought back into the initial £200 and whatever was left from the winnings after the £15 burgers. This time, we determined to be a little bit more aggressive, so I started playing the pass for 5 with full odds at 10, 1 come bet at the same level, and then the inside at 15 a number, which would leave me anywhere between 60 and 90 on the table, depending on what the point was and where the comeback had gone. A few decent shooters later, and I was able to up my bets, so I doubled to 10 on the line, backed up with 20 odds. You get the idea. At one point, the angry old man was shooting, and the point was 4. My comeback had gone up to 10, and I had the inside for 30 each. If you're being aggressive in your play, this is the promised land. Angry old guy just kept hitting the inside numbers over and over and over. I regret that I didn't press or even parlay the bets with the winnings, but I was just enjoying my chip rack filling up with black 25 chips. Remember guys, in the UK, black chips are worth 25 and the pink chips are worth 100. We decided to cut and run when both of us were a little over £1,000 up for the evening, which coincided nicely with the last train home. What interested me was the fact that I'd been super aggressive and my friend had stuck to the 1 pass line bet and 2 come bets, and we still ended up roughly at the same winnings. Throughout the night, we had thrown a few two-way hard ways out when the mood took us, but nothing hit. They would, however, show their pretty faces at a later visit, which was our latest visit in mid-January. I like to bet bigger when I shoot, so once the point is established, if I'm up, I usually stick 20 across the hard ways and replenish them every time they go down. This is just a bit of fun, really. No superstition involved here, and it's a good way of limiting the stupid but fun side bets. Anyway, the point was 9, and the hard way bases were loaded for myself and the dealers. Cue a hard 4 on the first roll. Huzzah! Followed immediately by a hard 10, and then ridiculously enough, on the third roll was a hard 8. This was so fucking welcoming when I'd gone £600 down in the first 2 hours of the night. I managed to hit 4 separate points in that roll, and by the time I 7'd out, I was looking at $75 more than I'd started with earlier in that night. And it was conveniently time to leave in order to get home at a reasonable hour. I reckon these kind of escapes from the jaws of death are just as satisfying as big wins. Next time on Gambling Around the World, we're going to talk about crushing, obliterating defeat in Aberdeen, Scotland, at a time in my life when I was in no position to burden myself with such a loss. Lessons were learned.
Making bets and winning money and gambling round the world.
Awesome. It feels good to be doing this more regularly, and I'm attempting to get episodes prepared so that when the baby does finally appear in April, I can still get stuff out. Again, if you want to get in touch, you can follow me on Twitter, which is @Vegas Bun Boy, or drop me an email to vegasbunboy@gmail.com, and there is always the website over at vegasbunboy.com for extra little Vegasy tidbits from me. On the next show, episode 7, I will welcome back my good friend Del, who spent a ridiculous week in Vegas over Super Bowl weekend and did absolutely everything. If you enjoyed him in episode 5, be sure to check that out. It's going to be a long one, but it'll be a good one. In the meantime, feed those bears, guys. Cheers.